Welcome to this explainer. Okay, I am seriously so excited for our journey today because we're about to decode one of the most massive, rapid, and just truly awe-inspiring transformations in global digital infrastructure. We're talking about India's Unified Payments Interface, better known as UPI. It's a system that didn't just change how a billion people buy their groceries, it literally rewrote the entire rulebook for how money moves globally. So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the global payment revolution, look at the magic of interoperability, dive into financial inclusion and growth, unpack the value versus volume divide, and finally, compare UPI with the upcoming digital rupee. Let's get right into it. Okay, here is a question for you. How on earth did one single country build a system that now accounts for nearly 49% of the entire world's real-time digital payments? Just let that sink in for a second. Almost half the world's real-time digital payments. It's a staggering reality. India has built this digital public infrastructure that the rest of the world, literally everyone from the IMF to massive Western tech companies, is actively studying and trying to replicate. So, how exactly did they pull this off? Section 1. The Global Payment Revolution, Scaling Unprecedented Heights. To understand the scale, let's talk numbers. In the 2025 to 2026 financial year alone, UPI crossed a mind-bending 241 billion annual transactions. And that's not just a big number for the sake of a big number. That represents nearly 90% of India's entire retail transaction volume. Think about that. Almost every single time someone buys a cup of tea, pays a rickshaw driver, or splits a dinner bill, it's happening through this exact system. It's completely frictionless, and it is everywhere. And here is another number that really puts this explosion into perspective: 12,000. That is the multiple by which transaction volumes have grown since UPI was first launched by the National Payments Corporation of India back in April 2016. So it started as this promising little concept, has scaled up by 12,000 times, and it's successfully integrated over 700 participating banks along the way. To really ground this in the real world, consider this stat from IM Bangalore. The sheer volume of merchant payments, which sits around 6.83 lakhs crore rupees in a single month, equals more than half, nearly 58% of all estimated household consumption in India. So UPI isn't just a convenient payment option anymore. It's literally the primary financial nervous system of the Indian household economy. Moving on to Section 2, the magic of interoperability. The single railway track. So what's the secret sauce here? It's one word: interoperability. Instead of building a bunch of competing networks that absolutely refuse to talk to each other, India built a single digital public infrastructure. Think of it like a perfectly laid railway track. Banks, fintech startups, global tech giants, they're all just building different trains that run on this exact same track, moving money from bank to bank in real time 24/7. In a lot of Western countries, you have closed ecosystems. If I have one app and you have a different app, I can't pay you. It's super frustrating. But India's Open API standard completely breaks down those walls. If you use Google Pay, you can seamlessly send money to a friend who only uses PhonePe or Beam. You're never locked into a walled garden. And honestly, that freedom of choice is exactly what caused adoption to skyrocket. But to be fair, it wasn't just interoperability that created this perfect storm. You also have zero or very low merchant discount rates, which means the roadside vendor doesn't lose a chunk of their money on a digital sale. Plus, it was built on top of the existing India stack of digital identities and universal bank accounts. Add in a massive boom in cheap Android smartphones and affordable data, and combine that with the fact that money moves securely between highly regulated bank accounts, well, you end up with some incredibly powerful network effects. Section 3. Financial Inclusion and Growth, Reaching Rural India. Now, technology is great and all, but does it actually help real people? Well, data from a 2026 Munich Personal Repack Archive study shows a really strong statistical correlation between UPI adoption and rising rural incomes. The coefficient for per capita UPI transactions is 0.42, which in statistics is highly significant. It basically proves that digital payments are working hand in hand with internet and bank access to genuinely boost rural economic outcomes. The researchers emphasize a really critical point here. UPI is not just about convenience for folks living in big cities. It acts as a massive catalyst for pulling informal economies right into formal financial networks. When a rural merchant starts accepting digital payments, they build a financial footprint. And over time, that footprint can actually help them access formal credit and expand their business. It's a real game changer. Section 4. The Value versus Volume Divide. A Tale of Two Indias. So here's where things get really interesting. While the macro numbers are flawless, looking under the hood reveals a pretty stark disparity. A June 2025 analysis from IM Bangalore breaks the volume down nicely. Person-to-merchant, or P2M payments, make up 64% of all transaction volume. Basically, everyone is out there scanning QR codes at local shops. But when we flip the metric and look at the actual value of the money moving, the whole picture flips too. Person-to-person transfers suddenly dominate, taking up 72% of the value. This perfectly proves UPI's dual nature. Yes, it's a mass-scale tool for daily micro-purchases, but it's also a highly trusted channel for moving large, high-value amounts between individuals. Looking a little deeper into that divide, 86% of merchant transactions are under 500 rupees. We're talking groceries, local transport, small daily necessities. Meanwhile, this tiny 4% slice of transactions over 2,000 rupees carries 66% of the total merchant value. So you have this incredible breadth of access, but very differing depths of financial usage depending on what people are actually buying. And there's a very similar divide geographically. Heavily urbanized areas like Delhi, Puducherry, and Chandigarh have super high per capita usage. We're talking over 35 transactions per person every month. But larger, more rural states like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh trail significantly, often sitting right down in the single digits. It's a powerful reminder that even though the digital infrastructure is there, the physical realities of smartphone access, internet connectivity, and financial literacy still create a digital divide that we really need to bridge. Section 5. UPI versus the digital rupee. What comes next? ICICI Bank provides a really perfect way to contrast these two concepts. UPI is not money itself. It's a way to move money. It's just the infrastructure overlaying your bank account. The new digital rupee, or CBDC on the other hand, is the actual sovereign currency itself, just sitting in a digital form. It literally is the money. To understand why this distinction matters, think about taking a cab ride. When you pay a driver 200 rupees on UPI, your app shows an immediate ledger update, sure, but the actual funds are moving in delayed bank settlement cycles in the back end. With the digital rupee, you are instantly exchanging a digital token. There's no back-end bank settlement required at all. It is exactly like handing a physical 200 rupee note to the driver, just via a screen. And because it's cash in a digital wallet, it doesn't earn interest like a bank account does. Tracing this whole journey is honestly breathtaking. We can see how UPI transformed from a promising launch in April 2016 into this interoperable giant handling over 241 billion transactions today. And with new innovations like credit on UPI and cross-border integrations, alongside projections from PwC, it is rapidly hurtling toward an absolutely astonishing milestone, 1 billion transactions a day by 2028. So I want to leave you with this final thought. India isn't just keeping this technology to itself, they're actively exporting these UPI rails internationally. As this incredible interoperable digital public infrastructure expands to other continents, are we witnessing the beginning of the end for expensive, closed-loop payment systems globally? It is a fascinating question for the future of money. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.